Last time on Dicing with Death. Despite Fenric's insistence that they leave later, as to give him time to prepare spells, Bohep decides a delay would be too risky, so they head out early. Not long into the journey, the scouts spot a fire lizard basking near the road. Bohep decides to wait in hope that the creature moves. Some time passes with no sign of movement from the creature, and Bohep decides wasting more time would be more dangerous than the fire lizard, and so the caravan pushes forward. Their luck holds true, and the fire lizard pays no heed to their passage, and other than a few minor incidents, they pass unhampered through the festering swamp. As darkness descends around them, they are startled by a mysterious noise, followed by javelins hurled by unseen assailants. The guards suffer some casualties, and soon the attackers reveal themselves, and Bohep identifies them as kobolds. The battle is swift but brutal, with both sides losing warriors. Using his magic to turn his appearance into a horrifying visage, Fenric scares away the last kobolds. Bohep decides to set up camp immediately, while the wounded are tended to. One guard was so severely injured that Bohep wanted to end his suffering, but Fenric stepped in, saving his life. During the course of the night, Fenric investigates the slaughtered kobolds and finds scars from whipping, and concluded that perhaps they were slaves to some overlord. As the night departed, so too did the caravan, and once again they meet no major threats and make good progress through the treacherous swamp. That night, during his watch, Fenric noticed a mysterious light some distance away, but decides not to investigate. The final day in the swamp, and other than Fenric collecting some flammable tar and coming across the wreckage of a wagon, the day passes without event, and they arrive safely in Papotti. We take our leave of Fenric as he wanders through the streets, aimlessly and penniless. What will his future bring? Find out next time on Dicing with Death.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Dicing with Death, the show where our production value is always spot on and Ryan is always unmuted exactly when I need him to be and not a moment more, and where I never stall while I try and figure out how to unmute him. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
It's going well, going well. Got any more flattering things to say about yourself?
No, nothing more flattering to say. Other than this is the start of our first Vietnam marathon, and we're going to be running an approximate 72 hours. And Dicing with Death is the start of it all.
Woo!
Woo!
Marathon hype. Do we have big gaudy donation markers or something above my head right now?
No, not above your head, but they
Okay,
do
awesome.
exist. If you're looking in chat, you can see them below chat, or you can check out Reddit and see them there. But one way or the other, there are wonderful markers so that we can do fun things.
Over in Reddit, they've got a little donation list or something like that in your
Mm-hmm.
subreddit.
Yep.
Or you've got
All sorts of fun shenanigans happen at various points in time, including a face dunking in a bucket of water every $100, which is lovely.
So initially you'll be dunking your head in water for fun, not because you're tired.
Yeah, it's just going to be like, oh, it's been X amount of time. There's another $100. It's just I'm going to need like a couple of towels next to me to constantly keep drying my face.
So the usual.
The usual. Yeah.
Awesome.
So what's been up with you?
I don't know. I've been writing all day, so I'm pretty frazzled right now and really stoked to dice with death.
Well, let's get out of the frazzledness
Throw
and
some
hop
dice.
right into
Yeah, exactly.
to shenanigans. We all know where we left off with Fenric now because of Layla's lovely recap.
Thank you, Layla and crew.
Yes. How did she put it? Fenric is wandering aimlessly and pennilessly.
Yeah, that's pretty much been the entire character, hasn't it?
Well, for a while you were pretty loaded.
That's right. Didn't take me long to spend it though.
No.
Um, I believe though I also have this unconscious guard to deal with. Correct. So we just come in the gate and like the wagons go their separate ways. Bohep went to a bar and told me the name of it.
Yes.
What happens to the corpse of that guard that I rescued? They were
He's with the
everyone was
farmer,
planning on
right?
yeah,
On top of all of his grain and shit.
yeah. So I assume it comes to me to pick his body up
Hmm.
and be left in the middle, you know, in the intersection. What's the name of this town again?
I'm opening it up right now. It is Papotti.
Yeah, so just on the northern edge of the devouring marsh. I don't know if you want to
Oh, I'm
throw me some
showing it.
tunes courtesy of tabletop audio and
Ooh,
give
yeah.
me a
Let's
little
get you
scene
some
description of
town
what this
music.
town is like. So, does everyone from the caravan depart except for me and the dead body?
More or less. Oof, God, I keep forgetting to. I didn't set up this properly. Oh no! Lacking a marathon overlay on Dicing with Death, which is something that we normally try not to do. But we're going to do it this time, and then I'll have to read out some things that I completely forgot to read out a moment ago while it was going on. So you guys are going to have to forgive me. And those of you that are just watching this as a YouTube VOD and going, what the fuck is this marathon shit all about? Chill, guys. You get tons of uninterrupted Dicing with Death. You'll have us slightly interrupted this time. Oh, and I forgot to start the timer on the stopwatch. Oh, no!
Can
We
we
lost the
do those
precious.
shout outs like at the end of every hour or something
Yeah, I think we will.
to minimize immersion?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not put the. Is it possible to hide the donation markers and just like pull them up at the end just so that we can cut VODs without marathon stuff?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure. I will leave the. I will leave the. I'll let them pop up as they come up, but I won't read them out.
Well, but then there'll be these random pop-ups in the middle of whatever.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so here we are. You are in Papari. You are talking to the merchant who's got all this grain, and there is a body on the back of his wagon. The wounded guardsman, and the merchant pops out of the caravan, puts his hands on his hips, and goes, "So, Mr. Wizard Man, what are we gonna do about this guy?"
I suppose I will be dragging him to a surgeon or cleric or something.
You don't sound very sure of yourself.
Well, bodies are heavy business.
I guess I can give you a hand. Do you know where you're going?
Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, there's a tavern over here. Real kind of rundown dump of the place,
Tavern. I think this man needs more than whiskey.
oh yeah, I suppose so. Well, there's a doctor on over there. He says, pointing down a side street. We could
Doctor's expensive. Got a church? Maybe a church to Martha?
I guess there is
Point me in the
a
direction.
temple. It's over there. He says, pointing in a different direction. We can I'll take you there. Hop on in. And
Alright. So I hop in the wagon, which I've probably been walking alongside for the entirety of the last couple of days.
and he drives the cart over to this temple to actually, yes, it is a temple of Martha, perhaps the most beloved of all the gods and goddesses. It is a rather large church building. Yeah, there's not much else to say. That it's a fairly standard temple, except it's maybe a little bit on the slightly larger side. Not too much, not too big. It's made out of stone. It has 7 spires, which is very common for temples in this land because of the 7 gods and goddesses, major gods. and overseeing it all is a statue of Martha standing kind of on above the doors on the roof. So he drives you up to this and helps you.
Is this so? The statue is carved in a human likeness,
Yes.
a human woman.
Yes.
Is it like abstract or is it like Renaissance style, true to life?
I mean, think more Greco-Roman.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's there's a giant statue of Martha, and that's it. What do you do with the body?
I take it and actually before I pick it up, I look myself over. I'm beat to shit. I'm down like I'm down like less than half HP, probably covered in dirt and mud. Yeah, I'm pathetic. All right, and the body's even more so. So I'll somehow can I drag it into? Let me check my strength.
He'll help you carry it in. Between the two of you, you guys can carry it.
Sure, okay. Does he fit my image of? I'm expecting to. I'm gonna walk into this church and con these priests into giving me free heals, and healing my guard for free too. Does this farmer look like he'll fit in with my troop?
Your con?
He pretty dejected. Yeah, my con.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fairly accurate.
I mean, he's your standard farmer. It looks like he might. I mean, he looks pretty pathetic.
So me and the farmer carry the body into this church.
And immediately, a couple of clerics run over and go, "Oh, what's happened to him?"
Do these look like acolytes or?
They don't look like magical healing clerics. They definitely look like just standard temple acolytes.
He's been wounded grievously. Kobolds from the maw. Quick! Do you have a place we can lay him and get him cleaned up?
They nod and direct you to a small alcove near the front door. You notice that there are 3 other bodies lying here and 4 more empty cots.
Okay. Are they cots or they're stone like?
No, they're like fabric cots on a wooden frame.
Okay. And this is all you said an alcove in the front of the temple?
Yes.
It's like a separate room. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Okay. But still like connected.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So we lay him down on a cot. I guess I'll take it. Can I take a second to inspect him? I don't remember. It's only we were rolling death saves, but I can't even remember his HP.
His HP is not that bad. He's at. I have it written down here somewhere. He's at -3.
-3.
Mm-hmm.
So we may recover naturally. So what is? It seems to be there's dead bodies everywhere, and we're no big deal. So
I mean, these aren't dead bodies. These are sick people. They look feverish and shaken.
So So what are the acolytes doing? Are they tending to him, or do they just like directly?
One of them patters off to go find somebody, and the other 2 are standing around and they're kind of looking at you expectantly, like waiting for you to make conversation.
Would you care to tend to? Are either of you trained in the healing arts?
No, but Brother Seamus is, and we're off to. Someone has run off to fetch him.
Do you not strive to live your life in Martha's image? Are these men or women?
1 man, 1 woman.
1 man and 1 woman. So the man probably doesn't.
Whoa.
Is not healing one of the most noblest of arts?
It is, but we have Brother Seamus for that. He is the most trained of us all. We are but new trainees. We've been forbidden from touching the wounded or ill for fear that we might do more harm than good.
take a step back. Okay, maybe I shouldn't trust them with my wounds. We'll see what this brother Seamus guy is like.
Servant group
Before
assigned.
Seamus shows up, I'm gonna like lean into either a wall or my staff or something, and overplay my my wounds.
Okay. A few moments pass,
Maybe
maybe 2 minutes, and Brother Seamus shows up with the acolyte who had run off earlier. And he's a middle-aged man. He's got a kind of a salt and pepper beard that comes out to about here, so it's not too long, but it's definitely like a beard to beard. He has white robes with silver linings on them, and walks with a staff and a slight limp. He looks like he's seen better days, and eyeing him up and down, you get the impression that he might have seen combat a few times. Like his limp looks very much like a wounded man's limp, like maybe he took an arrow to the knee and ended his adventuring days or something. He hobbles over and gives you a nod, gives the farmer a nod. Farmer's got like his cap in his hand, placed on his chest, looking around, very like
The farmer's still hanging around.
he's still hanging around, yeah. And Brother Shimmer just goes, "So I've been told this man was injured in the maw. Where did you find him?"
I carried him back out of the kindness of my heart. We were all ambushed in the maw on the journey north from Ansdrath.
Were you? He looks you up
I
and down.
like shift my posture to let one of the tears in my robes from the. Actually, I think there's probably only one recent wound. But anyways, that was like a nasty kobold scratch. I sort of let my tattered cloak fall open there and blood seep out.
You don't look like one of Bohep's men.
This is my first time north. I was a special hire for the occasion.
I see. I see. Well, thank you for
Actually-
saving his life.
Actually, I wasn't paid, so technically I wasn't hired for anything.
Do you bother correcting yourself?
I'd probably mumble that incoherently out loud like I just did. So it would
Okay.
take someone paying attention to
He kind of just nods.
comprehend my burbling.
Rests a hand on the man, chants a few words, and there's a soft blue and white light that kind of extends or envelops his hand, and then as he puts his hand on the man's chest, kind of dissipates into the person, the wounded guardsman, and it almost looks like the
he's
wounded,
casting a spell?
yeah,
Okay,
like
pretty
a,
obvious.
like a healing spell of sorts. The wounded guardsman glows with a soft blue light for a moment, and then it fades.
I probably actually pull out piece of a scrap of papyrus and start scrambling down notes on like the color of the aura and things like that,
Okay.
so that I could identify a cure wound spell if I saw one cast again.
Okay. This all takes but a moment, 35 seconds or so from the time that he started chanting words until the light on the body had faded, and the guardsman's eyes kind of flicker and come open for a moment, and squids, and then he just shuts them again. And Brother Seamus says, "I think he'll be okay. What did you say your names were, sirs?" And the farmer nods and goes, "My name is Farmer John. And this here is Fenric. He is our wizard."
Your wizard?
Our
I
wizard.
know I'm my very own wizard.
Brother Seamus gives you a smile and says, "Thank you for bringing him here. May Martha bless you for your kindness. Many men would have left him behind."
Yes, indeed. May the All-Mother bless us. You wouldn't happen to have any antiseptic lying around to clean out this gash? I don't know if I trust those kobolds to get their regular manicures. perhaps a modest donation of my entire net worth to the church could
He
make up for the
he smiles and says, "Disrobe and lay down in one of these empty cots, and let's take a look at you."
I hand him my coin purse.
He just
Or like, is there like a donation?
there's nothing obvious, so he just hands it to one of the other acolytes, who immediately scampers off with it.
Complete with 7 copper, because 7 copper is just as good as 0.
Is that literally your entire net worth?
Now it's 0, but
Wow.
My coin purse had 7 copper pieces in it.
Nice. Okay, so he
So I
asks you
sit
to
down and
disrobe.
Yeah, I try and I'm not particularly dexterous, but I'm gonna try and do it stealthily to like get my stuff arranged so that it's not obvious. Mostly not obvious that I have this bling and silver short sword. But
Right.
I'll try and like remove my belt because my belt's underneath my outer robe. So like remove my
Right.
belt and robe at the same time, so it all gets put in the floor on a bundle.
Oh, because
And
your
no one
short
can
sword
really
is
get a look
stuck
at my
into your belt, or
Yeah.
in your sword belt, not in your backpack.
Yes, it's on my sword belt. It's been on my sword belt for the last session or so. Yeah.
Give me a dex check. It shouldn't be that hard to do, so just a flat dex check, no penalties.
Yeah, my dex is pretty awful, but
It's not that bad.
gotta get
right?
those dice warm
not-
somehow.
It's like a 9, right?
7.
Ooh,
And my roll 20 is laggy. There we go. 19, probably not quite, unless the quite
not
low.
quite.
Yeah. So they maybe catch a glint of steel under the.
Yeah, they notice that you have some sort of
Or maybe I disrobe off.
yeah. But there's nothing is said as you take your stuff off and lay down on the cot. He looks over your wounds and pulls out from his own robes some weird pasty stuff and some bandages, and brings out a little bit of knife and kind of cuts your wounds to let some of the pus out and squeezes at them. And it's generally this painful procedure as he cuts you and bleeds you and squeezes out like the nasty stuff, and then rubs in this kind of sandy, gritty, funky smelling goop. It's viscous.
I am
and
actually a trained herbalist, proficient herbalist, so I would just recognize this as some healing poultice. Do you want me to-
something like
I
that.
could even roll to identify the herb involved. If it's not-
You didn't actually get to see the herb because it had already been ground up
Okay.
properly.
Yeah. Yeah, but I should. Yeah, I'm comfortable with him rubbing his gobbledygook in my wounds.
Yeah.
Even if his ideology is a little bit twisted, many of his methods are probably sound.
His ideology is twisted. What are you talking about?
There's clear. I don't know.
There's no twisted ideology here.
I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But
Yeah. And over the next 24 hours, you will roll yourself a D3.
2.
So
Is
over
that
the,
on its own, or in addition to the regular healing over the 24 hours?
in addition to whatever else.
So that will get me to full, provided I can find somewhere
Mm-hmm.
not crazy to sleep tonight.
So this whole process takes the better part of an hour. And somewhere in there, the farmer left. He didn't even say goodbye. He just kind of excused himself and scampered off. And at the end of it, Brother Seamus says, "Well, Mr. Fenric, it seems that you shall live, as will your friend. What did you say his name is for when he awakes?"
Can I roll an int check? I don't know that we ever gave him one, but I'm assuming there's a pretty good likelihood that I forgot. If you want me to even, is there?
Give
even
me
a
give me
roll
an
to see
check.
it? Yeah. 30. So if it
You
was
never
mentioned
got
to
his
me,
name.
maybe I recall it. So Bohef never mentioned his name.
Not
Probably when
once.
he died, they were even less likely to talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
I did not catch his name. I suppose you and I will learn that together.
Are you going to stick around and wait for him?
Been dragging him through the swamp this long. Might as well see this through.
Very well then. Martha's altar is over there if you'd like to say a few words, but I must go. I have many duties to attend. And he gets up and shuffles off, very slowly, leaning heavily on his staff.
I say quietly as he walks away, "Thanks, Mom." Maybe just quietly enough that he's not quite sure if I said anything. And just turns.
Thanks, Mom.
Isn't that what? That's how I imagine priests of Martha. And here, this middle-aged man shows up, with his dark past. He's totally my mother figure. All right. So I'll probably hang around the church, the temple, until the guard wakes. I may even crash there all night. I'll go to the altar in the short term and
Okay. I mean, go ahead and... So you go to the altar, you say some words. There's 7 altars in this temple, one for each of the 7 major gods. 7 greater gods, I guess.
So it's a generic temple. It's not a temple of Martha.
I mean, there's... Usually you'll have in a temple to even a particular god, you'll have little altars to each individual god, and then like one of the, like, for example, in this temple, Martha has a nice big shrine with like a fancy statue of her and everything. And then there's 6 other little alcoves off to the side, including to Malchus and Vorasi even.
Really?
They honor all the
What age did you say
gods.
this was?
Excuse me?
What age was this? Do you remember?
This is the Age of Might.
Age of Might? Okay. Huh. Altars to all the gods. Are the,
All the major gods. It doesn't have any of the lesser gods.
yeah, Verossi and Malchus sort of off in a dark corner somewhere without offerings.
They're pretty barren.
Candles.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna hang around and wait for the dude to regain consciousness.
Yeah. Eventually he regains consciousness and kind of blinks to and tries to sit up.
I'll probably be leering over him awkwardly as he wakes up.
His eyes flutter too, and he goes,
Good
Did we
morning,
make it?
sunshine.
"We must have made it.
You didn't. I shake my head.
Am I dead?"
Dead and reborn, cleansed by fire. I
Fine.
grin awkwardly and dramatically.
Where am I?
Why, thanks to me, back on this plane. And I sort of stand up and give him some space, let him get his bearings.
He sits up all the way in bed, kind of clutching his gut where he took the arrow, and
Given
looks
him a
around.
name in front of the priest so that there was a witness.
Yeah.
I could pretend that he forgot his name and just steal him. That would have been a good plan.
Ow.
So,
Ow.
Phoenix, you know where you are?
A church? A temple? Cathedral? Where are we? Are we in Pipari?
Yes.
Where's Boheb?
Long gone, son. If it hadn't been for me, he would have left you to rot in the maw.
Oh. Huh. It's a lot
You're
like
not
him.
a light fella.
Well, he tries to stand and winces and sits back down. I think I'm gonna have to rest here for a while.
Indeed. I'd say a week or so. You got people here?
He shakes his head.
You got people anywhere?
Not anymore. I got eaten up in the mall. That's why I joined up with Bohep and his men. Get my revenge, as you call it.
I put my hand on his shoulder. Say, well, the maw done chewed you up and spit you out. If you rest up, get healthy, I might just give you another chance to get that revenge. I give him a wink.
You think Bohep's gone already?
Could you really look him in the eye again if he wasn't?
Well, I was just gonna go over there and give him a what for trying to leave me behind to die.
Now.
Okay.
Forgiveness. I pat him on the shoulder, stare at him awkwardly.
He closes his eyes, lays back down, and goes to sleep.
All right.
What would you
Take
like
care.
to do?
I'm gonna leave the temple. I'm guessing it'll be days before he's back healthy again. Probably even a day before he's moving or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I got time and no money. I'm gonna get the lay of the town and see if I can find the sketchier district. The
That
sketchier.
is not too terribly hard to do. Surprisingly, in this town, the wealthier district is closer to the Maw. It seems that's where all the built-up fortifications are. It's where all the nice places are. It's kind of the somehow the being closer to danger in this town is associated with status, whereas in other towns, being further from danger is associated with status.
So being on the maw is
Being right up, not right up next to the wall where all the soldiers are, is kind of the heroic, good place to be. And the area to the back of the town where the semicircular wall kind of fades away, that's where all the shady, janky shit goes on.
all right. So I'm gonna start walking towards the edge of the wall. Right, where the shady, janky shit happens.
Yeah, away from the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
The edge of the wall, right? Because it sort of gets thinner and tapers out.
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah.
down.
So you walk towards the back side of the town and find yourself near the edge of the wall where it kind of breaks down from 30 feet high to 5 feet high to just kind of stones on the ground. And you see a bunch of lean-tos, a bunch of kind of like this small shanty town that's been built up with one house and then a house that's kind of like built on it but next to it, and then just things leaning against each other. There's the medieval equivalent of corrugated tin roofs everywhere. I guess it's just like not even thatch, just like sticks with cloths draped over them.
All right. I'm gonna try and keep my eye out for riffraff, I guess, like cut purse or something. I would want to find the criminal connection. Maybe not a cut purse, but like someone that I can drop some undercommon with and try and get into the black market of this town to offload some less than savory goods.
So while you're walking through, you're level 3, right?
Yes. Is that a rogue, like, picking my pocket and me actually detecting it?
96, buddy. 96.
And level 3 will do it, right? Is it 3 times level?
3% per level. Yeah.
So I have a 9% chance of
Yeah.
detecting.
Yeah. So as you're walking through, you notice that some guy goes and like tries to grab at wherever your coin purse would be. Of course, he doesn't grab your coin purse, but he gets his hand on one of your spell component pouches and gives it a yank, and it doesn't come loose, and then he immediately lets go and like tries to walk past you like nothing happened.
I'm gonna take an attack of opportunity against him. Actually, I guess does he he turns his back to me, right? And I've got a walking stick.
I mean, yeah,
I will
he's
just
clearly not
whack
trying to
him
do
on the
anything. You
head
can.
with my quarterstaff.
Hey,
Hey, stop, thief!
I'm gonna give you +4 for surprise. No need to, because he's not expecting you to do
Yeah,
this.
surprise and back attack. How busy is this street? I didn't.
It's not much of a
would-
street. It's kind of just a spot between various other lean-tos and shacks.
But are there people around, or is
There are a
this...
few people around, but they're all kind of keeping to themselves. There'll be like 4 people sitting out front of a house, squatting down on the ground, playing dice together. A couple of people
I was
like
just a little surprised that someone got close enough to me to... I guess that's what thieves are good for. 18 should be a hit.
18 is a hit. You whap him in the back of the head for 5
points.
damage. He
Nasty crack.
doesn't quite tumble to the ground, but he definitely stumbles forward a few paces, puts his hand to his head, and whirls
Hey, I
to
want to
face
talk
you.
to you.
As he whirls to face you, you can notice he draws a dagger, and I think we should roll initiative.
Uh-oh. I don't want to get stabbed. Did I take this too far? Let's see. What's the initiative? Speed 4. Oh, 5.
Ooh, you go first.
So I think I'm going to ready an action to strike him if he... Actually, I'll take a step back. Well, just like a few steps, a single step back, and strike him if he steps within range again.
Okay.
So I step just out of melee backwards, and I say, "Hey, I just want to talk."
He kind of is in a dropped fighting stance and goes, "What do you want to? What do you want?"
I said, "Well, I'm willing to overlook this slight against my honor," and I gesture to probably the loose string on my component pouch. Say, because you are just the man I was looking for, and I sort of relax a little more casually. I guess giving up my prepared action, hopefully seeing him.
He maintains his tight fighting stance, and he just kind of gives you a squint. Like
So I'm going to switch to undercommon. I'm looking to pick up some rat poison, say in undercommon. And if this deal goes well, there may be a tip in it for you.
Why do you need the rat poison for?
Big rats. You know a guy that deals in that sort of thing? I sort of look around surreptitiously.
He visibly relaxes his stance and puts his daggers away. And
Sorry about the bump, I say.
He grunts. Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy. What's the cut for me?
I'll make it worth your while. Make the meeting happen. If the deal goes through, I'll be sure that gold gets in your pocket.
Follow me. He turns around and just starts walking through the muddy, urine and feces filled streets. Yeah, this place has an odor to it that is most unpleasant. You suspect that the life expectancy of those who live here is pretty short.
Yeah. Yuck. I'd rather be in the maw.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys wander through this, rat-infested, cockroach-laden, mutt-strewn streets.
What kind of rat poison dealer lives in a hovel infested by rats?
One who doesn't use his rat poison on the rats around town. Maybe he eats the rats around town. And after walking through some areas, he comes up to a building that's it's got almost a thatch roof. It's basically got sticks and some like loose straw thrown on the roof. And there's also some like mud clops on there as if like the mud is holding the straw together. And there's a set of thin rags that drape down to serve as some sort of doorway. And the guy gives a rattle on the side of just on the side of the building and pokes his head in through and goes, Brutus, you here, buddy? And then there's a reply from inside, and he walks in and motions you for you to follow.
All right. I step into this hovel.
A hovel is a good way to describe it. There is no light source inside, so it is dim. It is very, very dim in here. There's a slightly raised bed. It's basically another cot that has some thin blankets on it and a single pillow. In one side, there is a table, a very large alchemy table with all sorts of vials and potions and beakers and what do you call them? Tritators or what? Fuck it, just
Titrators?
titrators. There we go. All sorts of weird chemistry shit lying around.
I don't know if a titrator is a... Anyways.
I don't know the proper term.
Titrator can totally be an alchemical device.
It's been a while since I took a chemistry class.
I guess there's like titration flasks where you've got a little...
Right, and there's the thing that you turn and you unturn and yeah.
I think those are called stopcocks.
There's a bunch of stopcocks.
All right. Yeah. So do I see a Brutus?
There is a Brutus.
The glassware.
Unlike what you would expect his name to be, he is a short and thin gnome. He's kind of just standing on this chair, working on this table, mixing this blue fluid with the green fluid, and as he lets one drop fall down, there's a kind of a smoke that arises, and the green fluid down below turns into a purplish fluid, and he turns around with a broad grin on his face and goes, "Ah, perfect. Well, who is this person that you've got here?"
Brutus, is that your name?
Brutus is my name. Potions are my game.
I extend a hand and say, my name is Fenric. Fenric the Wild. And I have brought for you a proposition. I hope you are the man...
I think you want to see Casey about that. I'm just jinking your chain. Casey's a prostitute.
I was gonna guess that. I have acquired a very specific sort of rat poison for a very specific sort of rat. Gilded rats, in fact. Are you the type of man that I should be talking to about offloading this supply?
I don't think. What do you mean by gilded rats? I don't quite understand.
I look around surreptitiously and then produce this package from one of my bags.
Oh, the starleaf.
This poison starleaf.
He looks at that and goes, "Oh, well, I hate to bust your bubble, buddy, but that's not a real poison. It slows the mind, dulls the senses, but it's not going to kill you."
That's why I said specialty. This batch here is poisoned.
Ooh, really? Let me get a closer look at that.
And so this is a pound of starleaf. I'm no expert on the subject, but that's a pretty hefty bag. I mean, the stuff's not dense. This is plant matter.
I mean, from what was it? What was that Dave Chappelle movie with Jon Stewart? What the fuck was that movie called?
Half baked.
Yeah, from Half Baked, when they got the pound of starleaf from the medical center, it was like this big block, like a big.
Yeah, it's probably like a brick.
It's a giant fucking brick.
Compressed plant matter.
Mm-hmm. So you pull out this, about yay wide, yay thick, yay tall brick of leaf, and he just yanks it out of your hands and holds it up and sniffs it and pulls it away and goes, "Ooh, that's potent stuff. I have to hold on." He pulls out a candle and then puts the star leaf over here and uses this big magnifying glass and
don't breathe that in.
Starts looking at it and
I thought he was gonna light it on fire.
No.
I'm gonna be eyeing his equipment while he's doing this and his instruments.
He looks it over and goes,
"I am a proficient alchemist."
Well.
I admire his workshop.
Where did you come across something like this? This is This would be perfect for a very particular person or group of people.
Yes, indeed. And I am not from this town, so I was hoping you may know that particular person for a cut of the profits, of course.
Are you
And
looking to sell?
yes, and yes, indeed. What do
Well,
you
scratches his chin.
what do you reckon we
I,
could fetch for a brick like that?
I could probably, well, I could give you upwards of, let's say, 600 silver for it, something like this.
600 silver. I'll I'll call that done.
Something like this could be very useful. And he looks to the guy who you were with and goes, you want to go tell Herzba about this? And the other guy gives a nod and walks out into the mud, leaving just you and Brutus the gnome. And he goes, why don't you just stand over there? I'll hold on. And he scuttles underneath his table, and there's a wooden paneling on the ground around the table, at least, so it's not too muddy. He opens up one of the panels, and it appears that there's a pit underneath, and he pulls out a small chest, flips it open, and starts rifling through it, counting out some things. And it takes him a few minutes until he produces 2 large bags filled with silver coins. It appears that he's giving you all 600 silver in silver.
I'll take it. That's gonna weigh a ton, though, huh?
It's going to weigh 12 pounds.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm lightly encumbered, but worth it to have money. I will count out 10 and see that the messenger boy with the lumpy head gets his cut.
Of course, of course. Do you have any interest in seeing this through with me, or are you just trying to offload some goods and make some quick cash?
Oh, well, you already paid me out. What incentive is there for me to stick around?
I didn't know the means through which you acquired this. Maybe you would hope to use it in a particular way?
No. I was looking for cash. But if you need some muscle to back you up, I can stick around for whatever deal's about to go down.
No. It'll take some time, but I thank you for your assistance with this delicate matter.
It's a nice little lab you got here.
Is there anything else I can do for you? Anything else you'd look to want to trade? I got all sorts of rat poison. And he gives you a wink when he says rat poison.
I think I've had just enough rat poison for for now, thank you. Where do you get your glassware from?
My brother makes it. He doesn't really like to trade with me anymore. I have a friend that buys it from my brother for me.
Buys it
He's
from-
a real gnome, as they call him. Looks down on the likes of me. He's a real tinkerer. He doesn't approve of how I lost my accent.
Okay. Well, I'm in need of a couple of flasks to gather samples.
He gives you directions to his brother's place.
Sure. All right. I will head off to the glass blower or whatever. Thank Brutus.
Okay. You make your way through the streets of Papotti.
That's a weight off my shoulders. No longer carrying that big old brick of Starleaf, and I got some cash.
Yeah. You make your way near the front wall. Not all the way to it, but like maybe a block and a half back, and maybe 2 blocks in from the main thoroughfare to a little. It's a second store workshop of like a 4-story stone building The bottom is a jeweler. The second story is where this guy has his workshop, and the top 2 floors seem to be housing, probably for the first 2 floors.
Right. So I want a couple of glass flasks for collecting more of that tar that I found, if I come upon it again in the maw.
Yeah.
And I want a quartz prism.
How much is
couple
the
quartz
cost? What is the cost of the quartz prism?
It's a spell component, so it's not specified. As far
He
as I
can
know.
get you a quartz.
I can't remember what we did last time. So I need a replenishable supply. So I want like a bag of tiny chips of quartz prisms, basically. A bag of polished quartz, basically.
When you bring this up to him, he suggests the wizard shop a few blocks over.
Wizard shop. There's a wizard shop? That's a thing?
Of course. Have you never been to a wizard shop before? You look like that's the sort of person that would be casting spells, and I think that means you've probably been to a wizard shop before, but I don't really know. I've never been a spellcaster myself. But if you go about 3 blocks over, there's a man, his name is Jarld, and Jarld has a wizard shop. It's the best wizard shop in town. In fact, it might be the only wizard shop in town, now that you mention it, but I never really thought of it like that before. But he was a fantastic fellow. He's about yay tall, and he... What? Huh?
Flasks? You got flasks, though?
Oh, of course, I sell all sorts of flasks. They're about yay big. Here, let me get a couple of them. What type of flask do you want? Do you want an aluminum fire flask? Do you want this type of flask? Do you want that type of flask? And he starts pointing different flasks. We got all sorts of makes and models. What type of temperature are you going to be boiling these things at? Do you need a glass that will hold water, hold acid, hold things? Do you need a boiling flask? Do you need a holding flask?
I figured out.
Do you need a flask in liters and centimeters and inches? What can I get you for you? I need a little bit more description. Ooh, how about this one? This is my favorite flask. I built it. And he just rambles and rambles and rambles.
I get a couple of his favorite flasks or whatever, and how much did this cost? Let's say...
It's a 5 silver per flask.
All right, let's say 3 empty flasks.
Okay.
How much do they weigh?
Half a pound. Quarter of a pound each, I guess. So just 1 pound for all 3.
All right, I'll do 4 then. 4 empty flasks. And I will go try and find this wizard shop.
Okay. You follow the gnome's slightly confusing directions. He talks really, really fast and at no end.
Yeah, I gathered.
Which I totally made up on my own and did not steal from another franchise. And you eventually find this guy's shop. It's a single building, which is dedicated all to him and his shop. The ground floor is this wonderful mystical place. You walk in and there's all sorts of herbs and spices and funny smells and spell components all over the place, and it's like a kid on Christmas.
What's the name of the wizard shop?
Geribald's Wonders and Mysteries.
Geribald's Wonders and Mysteries. Cool. All right, so I probably spend a good time getting lost in the rows before I stumble upon the quartz, or maybe I find the quartz and spend a long time wandering around looking at other spell components or curiosities.
Leaning against the inside of the front door is a man in studded leather armor with a nasty-looking rapier at his side. He looks to be some sort of bodyguard. And at the very back of the shop is an older man. I'm sorry, an older woman.
Geribald's a woman?
We'll find out. She is wearing red robes and currently has her face buried in some sort of text and mumbling to herself, reading. You do find a whole section of quartz crystals. There's a bunch of little tiny small ones, and then there's some larger ones, and then there's some, next to all sorts of just components. There's a whole section of rabbit's feet and lizard's feet, and you notice there's a bunch of rock feathers and just everything that you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
There are some sealed glass cases that have very valuable things behind them. Pieces of, things that are made out of silver or gold or platinum, or things that are just priceless. They're like some vials of weird, different types of blood, and there's some scales that look like they might belong to a very large lizard or maybe even a dragon. That sort of stuff.
Well, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these quartz prisms, probably mini disposable ones that I can use for casting my Harung's Baneful Deflector spell.
A single silver per one.
Okay. Why didn't I grab 5? And I probably waste a good portion of time getting lost in the shop. How big is it? You said it takes up the whole building.
Yeah, well, this shop is just the ground floor. It is 20 feet wide by 35 feet deep. And then there's the counter.
There's a few aisles to wander.
Mm-hmm.
So unless I see anything that you think is worth mentioning, that's probably all I want is the quartz.
Okay. Yeah, you take plenty of time getting lost. I mean, this is really the candy store for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of things that you would want, but nothing that I can think that would stand out more than anything else for you.
Yeah, there's no components I've had on my to-do list or anything, or to purchase list.
Mm-hmm. As you go to pay, the woman looks up through her spectacles and glances at you. Goes, how many are you buying?
I think 5. So I just picked out 5 little.
That'll be 5 silver.
I count out 5 silver from my hefty pouch. Actually, I have 2 pouches, right?
Mm-hmm.
From one of my hefty pouches.
And as you put the silver on the counter, she puts her hand on top of yours and stares intently into your eyes and goes,
I stare intently into her eyes as well. I may be developing a thing for older women.
Are you interested in a bargain? In a trade?
My heart starts pumping out of my chest. What did you have in mind? Mixture of terror and arousal.
I would trade you a spell book for that sword at your side.
I'll keep that in mind. I give her a wink and pull my hand back, leaving the silver on the counter and taking my prisms with me.
Are you sure? One can never be surprised by knowledge.
One is always surprised by knowledge.
Do you even know how to use that thing? Swing it like a real man.
I've slewn a yeti or 2. But I'm no swordsman. I am merely the warden of this blade. And I move to walk out the door.
Okay. You give a glance over your shoulder at some point, and she is eyeing you intently as you walk out.
Yeah, I've got the hand resting on the hilt as I walk out the store.
Mm-hmm.
Were her eyes... So I've seen someone cast Detect Magic before, and their eyes, the elf, and then their eyes turned purple or something crazy like that.
No such...
Did it look like this one? Actually, I think they may have... I don't know.
No such looking like she casted any spell, but she was very drawn to your sword very quickly.
That's very strange.
Okay. You walk back out into the street.
I walk back out the street. I never got an identify spell.
Nope.
So I'm going to be flying blind. I don't know how many magic items I'll actually wind up getting, but that is interesting character choices you have to make.
You walk back out into the street, and you can kind of like metaphorically feel her eyes on you still. There's this lingering like shiver that runs down your spine.
Do I think she's like magically scrying on me or anything, or it's just like
no, it's just
jitters?
the intent gaze of someone
Jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wants what I got.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to it as I start down the street to find a fine tavern.
Okay.
Got a thirst.
So we're gonna take our first break here. This is a marathon stream, but we're still gonna take our normal Dyson with Death breaks because I need to get some water and order some food. And so we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. The marathon stream will continue. This has been hour 1. See you guys in just a jiffy.